Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. In today's video we are going to be discussing about a serious topic in Honor of Kings right now. I did make a poll regarding this last week and we have some mixed reviews or opinions from you guys. I'm going to be going over them and I'll try to debunk some things that I think are false, and also let's see what majority of the people seem to think about the situation, because in my opinion it's very big of an issue. Yes, I am talking about the tank meta in Honor of Kings right now. Yes, I've been talking about this for a very long time. It's almost like too repetitive right now, but this is the last time I'm going to address this issue, and hopefully I'll be able to give some insight, because the poll, as you can see, even though we have a clear majority of people saying tank meta is actually real and unbalanced, we also have 27% of people who seem to think it's just an excuse. Now let's go over the comments, because we have 47 comments and most of the people who actually commented seem to think that it's balanced and it's not actually a problem. So we'll go over the comments and see what their point is. In our channel we don't fight, we don't quarrel, we go over points, we discuss, and yeah, let's do that now. Alright, so starting off, let's go over. Okay, so Matt Timo, tank meta, right? This point, okay, Matt Timo, tank meta most probably might work against bots and noobs opposite, not in high elo. Almost everyone knows what's a pick and counter picks works. If tank meta is real, you would have seen in esports, which you don't, because it's not. This is, first of all, this is totally inaccurate. I don't know what esports he is talking about, but the esports scene was completely filled with the tank meta. Except Jin and Luna, any other jungler pick was tank. And then you didn't even see Sanchi a lot. We always say how strong Sanchi is and how much damage he can do, but the dominant clash laner was Charlotte with a hybrid build with only one attack item. And then Lian Po was a clash laner, and then we had the who else was the clash laner? All these tanky heroes were majority in the clash lane. Byron was in the clash lane with the tanky build. That is the issue, right? Byron was there, but he was not using the damage build, so it counts as a tank. If you are just using all tank items, and if you are using an assassin, you are a tank, you are not an assassin anymore. And then in jungler you had Musashi, Menki, Agron, like all Kaiser, all the popular junglers were just tanks. They were full tanks. Even junglers such as Yuhan were using at least 2 defensive items per game, just so you can like survive in the tank meta. So I don't know what you mean by tank meta is real. You would have seen in esports, because everyone else, or at least I, was able to clearly see it on esports. And it might work against bots and noobs, but not in high elo. This is very subjective, I think. High elo, by high elo you mean an average player. If they pick tanks and they try to beat pro players, they might lose, but that is not what we are talking about. In an equal matchup between two pro teams, if one team is going for the tanky composition, you can't really easily counter them. That is the problem we have right now. So against a noob player, or against an average player who is using a tanky build, you might like run around them or counter them. But if the world's best player is using the tank build, that becomes problem. You can't counter that, because you should be able to counter that, but you are not able to counter that. That is the problem here. So in an equal matchup, a team that goes for a tankier build has the advantage right now. So that is why this is also not accurate. Alright, so next, I don't think the tank is unbalanced, because if two of your team fight against one tank, the tank will lose around 90%, or at least they have to go back to base. This means you can still win against the tank meta, but it requires skill of the player, which anyone can learn, practice, and improve that. Again, this I saw, and me and Agile Pickle Unite had the same opinion on this. you don't call it a tank meta because one tank is there in the opponent. You call it a tank meta because two or more tanks are there in the opponent. Your Clash laner is a tank, your jungler is a tank, and your roamer is a tank. That is why it's the tank meta. And it's not just they are a tank. They build full tank, not even one attack item, and they still deal a crap ton of damage. So this is not a right thing to argue about. And also, if it requires two of your teammates to finish one guy, or at least to send him back to base, imagine facing three tanks and they three engage at the same time. You need with this calculation, you need 6 players to take the tank out. So that is why it's called the tank meta, and it's annoying. People who say that don't know even the pick phase. I get it. Till platinum or normal match, you can't see what opponents choose, but in diamond and later too. Also, people forget that this is only 8 months old game and they don't know all heroes yet. The second line I can agree, and I also have some opinion on it. But the first one, see, it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter if you see what the opponents are picking or not, because obviously in esports we were able to see that, and even though the opponent is just seeing what's going on, teams ended up picking Agran, Musashi, and like even Lian Po in the same team, the three tanks. What were the opponents able to do about it? They were just able to, like, they didn't have a lot of choices unless they have a successful early game where they start to snowball. They just lost the match. It was as simple as that. And the winning rate was always on the side of the team that had more tanks, or both the teams will have a lot of tanks, and then it's like a stalemate, or slight advantage that one team has over the other led them to the victory. So this is also not wrong, this is also not right. But the problem is, this is a very good point. It's an 8 months old game. They don't know all the heroes yet. They don't know all the heroes yet. I don't agree with that, but it's a new game. Now this is what I'm thinking. It's like an agenda of Honor of Kings. It's a new game, and that is why they have buffed all the heroes that are very easy to play, aka the tanks of the game, like Kaiser, Dunn, all the easier heroes that don't die quickly but can stand and fight, which is very appealing for a new player. I get why a lot of people love Dunn and Kaiser right now. The fact that they can just stand head on and take out 2v1 opponents is just, it's just so appealing for the new player. It's like an awesome thing to do. And to promote that, maybe they have the tank meta. And to further prove my point, the meta is completely different in the Chinese server, not because they are good players or they are experienced, but because they have already nerfed these heroes. They have already nerfed Luang. They have already nerfed most of these tanky heroes that we still have overpowered. So you see it, right? It's like HoK themselves trying to make all the easier heroes strong, so that the new players that are in the game will have a better time playing the game and have more fun. Maybe they'll fix that. If that's their thought process behind this, it's okay. But yeah, how is it unbalanced? Okay, this is about MLBB. Tank meta is the most balanced thing because you have to play the game well from the start to end to win matches. I see, again, it's not about how good you are, it's about the game not being balanced. Like, sure, you can be very good to the point that even the tank meta can't counter you, but to the average player facing tanks every single match, and like, maybe they are not the specialist at countering tanks, and for those players it becomes a very big problem. Again, Jaden Mario says, I have yet to see a tank my Cyrus couldn't harass. It's just a skill issue. Now this is just purely subjective, and yes, you might have the best Cyrus ever, but the problem right now is that you don't need to be the best Cyrus ever to counter tanks. See, you don't need that much skill. That is why it's not balanced. Like, of course, people who are very good at the game will be able to deal with it, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's actually balanced. it means that you have to put so much extra work to make the game balanced for you, which should not be the case. So yeah. um, okay, so this is another point. Tank meta is real and not unbalanced. For me, tank meta is quite good, but I've seen tank junglers, and one thing I noticed about them is that they clear slowly, so they rely on team fights, and since you do cross map dates, you can potentially outsmart them and end the game early. Okay, so I get it, I get this point. It's like Hanjin or Fuzi. He's talking about split pushing and completely avoiding the fights, which usually doesn't work. If it's against a good team, they will always respond and they'll also be able to join the fight. This only works in solo queue, where everyone else is also solo and you're just being the annoying Hanjin who keeps pushing the tower and doesn't join the fight. So yeah. Okay, so now let's get, okay, one last point we have. It's not real. See, here's the facts, right? This is the last point supporting that the tank meta is fake. It's not real. See, here's the facts. People usually like assassin heroes. Okay, you're not able to see it. Wait, let me show you. Okay, here we go. This is the yeah, it's not real. See, here's the facts. People usually like assassin heroes, which is high damage. Well, the counter to high damage is high defense. For example, if someone picks Nakoruru, why would I pick a squishy jungler that she can just delete? No, I want a tanky jungler to counter that. It's just how counters work. That's like saying there's an assassin meta because they counter farm laners. See, again, this is not the problem. It's okay to pick Zilong to counter Nakoruru, but right now no one even picks Nakoruru. That is the issue. You guys don't see the issue here. No one picks these damage dealing assassins. Not even like me myself. I used to be like a Cyrus main. I never touched Cyrus for 1 month now. The junglers that I use are Kaiser, Ogron, Heino, all these very tanky heroes, because the opponents are picking tanky heroes. You get it, right? See, if you pick a tanky jungler in response to a Nakoruru pick, it's a different story. But the opponent, like, it's always tanks. So the opponent goes for a tanky pick, and then you respond to it. How do you respond to it? You have to respond to it with a tanky pick, because if not, you lose. Right? The tanks are dictating the matches right now. It's not a Nakoruru pick that forces a tank from the enemy, but it's a tank that forces another tank from the enemy. So that is the point. I get what you're talking about. It's counters and all, but you have to understand my point as well. I'm trying to make it as clear as possible. Nakoruru was not the first pick. Dun was the first pick. So how do you counter Dun? Pick Kaiser, because any other jungler will just die to him. And then you have a Kaiser and a Dun. And then the opponent goes for a Lian Po clash lane. And then how do you counter a tanky clash laner? Again, you have to go for another tanky clash laner. Maybe Lubu. Lubu works. But other than Lubu, what choice do we have? We have Charlotte. And then with Charlotte, what do you build? You don't build attack, you build tank. Or you go for a Byron. But if you go for an attack Byron, you are useless against Dun and the enemy. Who was the clash laner? Lian Po. So the tanks are dictating the meta. That is the issue. So only if you have proper knowledge about all heroes, just try to play solo. They don't realize an assassin isn't supposed to 1v1. Okay, they are backline divers. They are squishy hunters. True, this is true, but this is not the issue. This is something that is normal, but the situation that we have right now, it's not normal at all. It makes zero sense. Assassins are junglers and they are meant to be squishy because they have high damage. You can't have a freaking 14k health Ogron or Zilong with high consistent damage and call it a counter that counters every assassin. And yeah, absolutely, there should be counters, but not tanky. For an example, they pick Nakoruru, pick an assassin that can outplay her by skill or items, or even the hero itself counters her. And if you get, okay, alright, see, this is just normal. The point that he is making, okay, pick a high skill hero to counter Nakaruru, that's not fair, because the easiest way to counter Nakaruru is by picking a tank, and if you are able to do that, you should do that, right? But yeah, I get it. Now let's come over to the points that support that the tank meta is actually real. So Samuel Clinton, ignore the first few lines. Tank meta is indeed real, but here is what you should understand. Right. So here is when he starts to spit the facts. It's absurd for a tank or a fighter to deal ridiculous damage. Like if a character picks tank builds, you are sacrificing damage or power for sustainability. So as a tank, or if you pick a hero and go for a tanky build, you are not supposed to have damage. This is very simple. I don't know why people don't understand that. Maybe it's because HoK is your first MOBA, but have you guys seen AOV? In what universe did Omega come solo into the back lane, kill Zata or kill Crixie and then Elsu, and then just goes away with a double kill? As easy as that. In which universe of AOV did that happen? When did Arduin just jump into a fight and destroy everyone? He was played as a support. But what do we have here? Dunn is the one of the more popular junglers right now, or even clash laners right now. No one plays him as a support. And then we have who else? Chagnar, bro. Chagnar. Chagnar is a hardcore killer in HoK. Even with a full tank build, Chagnar just goes in, kills the marksman or the mage and just goes out. You can't even stun him, bro. See, that is the problem. You are sacrificing damage. You should be sacrificing damage to be more tanky. But HoK's hero system is actually a joke for real. How can Liu Shan, Lianpo kill a whole mine with full defense? Don't get me started with Arthur and Ogron alone. Some idiots will say skill issue, blah blah. Cause y'all literally play in duo or trios and likely love abusing the meta when you don't even know or have a sliver of what it feels as a solo player. Oh, sliver of what it feels as a solo player. Okay, this is a bit personal. I don't sugarcoat what I see or know. As a tank is to sustain with lesser damage. Again, I agree that they are needed to counter damage heroes, but not to this extent of dealing insane damage themselves more than the assassins. That's the point. I want you guys to go to the game, open up practice mode, build a Kaiser full tank, right? Full tank build, the most popular build. Place a puppet and attack the puppet with all your abilities. Check the damage per second that you get. You will be mind blown and no one will be talking about this. Once you see that, once you see how much damage Kaiser is able to do with a tanky build, no one will be talking about this. Like it will be 100 immediately because people have no idea what they are talking about. The 27 here, you have not seen anything. Kaiser with a full tank build deals about 75% DPS of a full attack marksman. I'm not kidding. You go and check. Build a marksman full attack like HoE, right? HoE full attack. Keep shooting a puppet with full attack build and see how much DPS you get. Let's say you get a DPS of 10,000. A full tank Kaiser will get 6,000 DPS. You see the problem now? A full tank Kaiser, not even one attack item, will still get you 6,000 DPS. Then is that marksman a joke? Full attack build with 10,000 DPS, is that a joke? See where the problem is? The tanks are not supposed to deal damage. Take a look at Dunn, is that a joke? I know some that would be like pick Marco Polo. Yeah, this is like the popular reply to all these tank picks. Pick Marco Polo. Pick Dio-chan. If you have a Dunn, even if you have a Marco Polo, it's not enough to properly counter it. Alright, so the point that he makes is pretty clear. So even if you pick a hero like Marco Polo or Dio-chan, that is what people usually say, right? Just pick Marco Polo, just pick Dio-chan, just pick Lubu. It's not enough. If that was enough, we won't be having a problem at all. Why weren't people like countering the tanky meta with Marco Polo or Dio-chan in the esports, because it's simply not that easy. It's not as simple. Like in theory, yes, Marco Polo does counter the tanky meta. Then what do you think is another problem with the tanks being the meta? Apart from dealing a lot of damage, the tanks are also high on crowd control. They are heavy on crowd control. They have a stun. They have at least 2 stuns. Like Kaiser has a slow and a stun. Dunn has 3 stuns, right? Oh, Dunn has 2 stuns and a slow. Liu Shan has like 2 stuns and a slow, right? And then Marco Polo won't work against a team with a lot of stuns. As Marco Polo, you're just going to have to stay back and just shoot, which is not countering because he won't deal any damage that way. If he's just standing and shooting, if he's not able to ult at all, and whenever he ults, there is someone, because the whole team is tanky. Someone will just stun him, and it's done. So yeah, I hope people can now understand what the actual problem is. I think most of the people right here might actually be tank players. I get it, but it's completely unbalanced. Completely unbalanced to the point that only Jin was played as an assassin with attack build. So that is when you know the tank meta is real. In esports it was very clear that the tanks are dominating. And yes, it might also be HoK's own agenda, that they are just trying to promote the easier heroes and be more appealing to the newer player base, while in China server they are all nerfing all these tanky heroes and all the broken heroes immediately, while here they are just letting them go for a while. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about it. Even now I am down to discuss. Please don't argue. We don't argue in this channel. We go over topics and discuss. So I would like to hear your opinions. If you still think it's an excuse, because the esports did not say that it's an excuse, nor do pro players. If you ask anyone who's like 100 plus stars, they will tell you that there is zero assassin pick in the top 100. That should explain. Zero assassin pick in the esports except Jin. Zero assassin picks in the top 100. And even in right now, even in the average rank match, we don't have assassins. The assassins are just dead. They are just gone. Poof. Anyways, I just wanted to talk about this and give my opinion on it. That's going to be it for the video, guys. I hope you all found this video helpful and maybe entertaining. Let me know your opinions, like I said, and yeah, I hope you all have a really great day, and I'll see you guys in the next video.